we go. I do believe we're live, so I'll say indeed. And greetings unto you, beloved and holy friends. What a dear pleasure it is to have you here again on another conscious evolution. Another opportunity for us to consider how the mind is held by the body and the body is held by the world. I think that's one of those topics that can be fascinating to explore. Seeing all of the different levels of ourselves. TE, welcome. Welcome back. How am I? Just fine. Perfectly good. I slept well last night. Like really well last night. I recovered well. My HRV is amongst the highest that it could be. I got a vaccine yesterday and my shoulder muscle is hurting. That's a part of it. I got the tetanus shot. And it had like some other things with it as well. 2 other ones. So I'm vaccinated. Bring Zoe in the stream for the whole time. Zoe will lose his mind. Zoe is being made some breakfast right now. There he comes. Look who it is. Look who it be. No, you can't. There you go. Now you should have a surface to sit on. Boom.
Zoe's getting his breakfast.
Eating Zoe breakfast. Hi, Zoe.
Yeah.
Hi, Zoe.
What do you think? Yeah.
You see that? It's being made
time.
cookie for you. That looks different than it usually does.
Work that muscle. It'll help it hurt less. What muscle? The brain muscle?
Oh, the shoulder. You're right. You're right. I am working the muscle, Sam. I was doing that during the yoga as well today. Oh, what's up, Zoe? And sorry, I don't know your name.
Hey, Toxic. It's JoeBot.
JoeBot. You know, the friend who says
I'm usually on
worky lurkies. The friend who says hi to all of the friends by name.
I
Like
remember the first time that you were in on stream. It was a dance day.
Toxic Edits joined on a dance day.
It was a Wednesday. You were dancing.
Zoe breakfast.
He's been so impatient about his breakfast.
He doesn't like it. He's spitting it out.
Certain parts he'll spit out, but he eventually eats all of it. He's picking out the nuts. He's picking out his favorite bits.
He's like, yeah, this is good. This is good.
Yeah, but you're so hungry, Zoe.
He's just locked in.
Bro is hungry.
I'm not even that hungry, he says.
He doesn't like the carrots. He always spits out the carrots.
Yeah, maybe you should go and give it to him in his cage.
There you go, bye-bye.
Your poor pants are gonna get Bo-wrecketh.
Say bye.
Bye-bye. Say bye-bye. That's a good bird. Galaxy Thompson. I don't know if that's true, but if it is true and you're hurting, I'm sorry, friend. I hope you know that you are worthy of love, even if this relationship has ended. And I appreciate you for finding yourself here. May you remember that you are divinely made and perfectly whole. There's nothing that can be taken away from you. It does hurt to lose a relationship, though. What's up, bro? Hey, Boxy. Welcome, friend. All right. He eats better than me. I mess up all the time. Don't appetite shame me. Wow. Thank you. Thank you, Toxic. Galaxy Thompson. Good morning, lovely peoples. Good morning, Prairie Wolf. Welcome. Prairie is here with us. Hey, Prairie. It's nice having you here, too. It is a pleasure getting to share this space with you, friends. I got some Zoe food on me as well. Today's stream topic is how the mind is held by the body and how the body is held by the world. I think it's interesting to think about the what do you call those dolls? Do you remember those dolls? Yeah, Russian nesting dolls, kind of fractal. Right? What is housing reality? What is housing the world? Space, dark matter.
Informs the body, but no, what is it?
The body informs the mind.
The body informs the mind. The mind. I don't know, something like that.
It's pretty neat. I haven't seen that done before. It is technically what it's made for. Technically. Yeah. Right. I'm so much bigger than her. No blue letters? YouTube changed. YouTube changed the fonts. I'm not sure. It comes through looking similar to me. Matrovska. Matrovska dolls. Matroshka dolls. That's the one I was looking for. I was looking for that word especially. Thank you very well. Appreciate you letting me know what that one is called. The mind held by the body, held by the world. Turtles. Turtles all the way down. There we go. Yes. Yes, that is kind of the vibe of what I want to talk about today. I do think it's interesting, but I feel a little bit, at least right now, not stuck, but maybe like I'm still gaining momentum. Yes, my engines are revving up. I like turtles. I like turtles too. Skyla's back. I am crying. Skyla, what are you crying about, little friend? What's going on? I'm just eating jelly on the couch. It's raining outside, so things are going pretty well. The Lewis? Why do I feel like I know your name, friend? Have you been here before? You have been. Yeah, you've been here before. It's been a while. Kind of. But welcome back. Is this JD Vance? No, he'd be making out of the couch while eating jelly with it, apparently, if that was the case. Why is JD Vance in so many people's brains these days?
It's so memeable.
He is pretty memeable. People have been memeing on him hard. Like I saw a thing, I think this morning, where they released the whole video of the new Neo robot's hands. They upgraded his hands, like showing how it can like pick grapes off of the stuff and how it can like assemble Lego blocks and how it can use a spritzer bottle, and then they had like a whole AI video of that round-faced JD Vance with the curly hair being like taken care of by a robot, and it's very cursed. And then the video ends by, someone taking goggles off of their face, like completely disheveled. I don't know why it is, but it's just like the meme culture. The meme culture is so alive. It's like there's this symbiosis of like we are actively entering a world where we have robots, and at the same time, we're just as silly, right? Like you imagine the future with robots being like super sophisticated. Everybody is smart. Everybody knows what's going on. Everybody, is like so sophisticated. But that's probably not going to be the case, is it? No, probably won't be like that. Probably it's going to be pretty ridiculous all the way down. Didn't watch, but he was on Joe Rogan's podcast. Melty is blue today. I wouldn't be surprised that he would be. I mean, Rampa Rampas was there as well. I also haven't watched it. I didn't watch the Rampa Rampa one either. I was highly recommended that I should. People were like, you should watch the Rogan and the Rump podcast. It's going to totally change your mind on Rump. And I was like, how about now? How about nah? How about I don't want to do that? How about that? I'm just chilling. Bless again. Do you think about the Hunger Games movies? My friend says I should watch them. What do I think? What do you think? Yeah, I don't think about them much. I think they were good. They were like interesting. The premise is very interesting. All right, if you understand what the Hunger Games are about, a bunch of colonies have like a whole battle for the rich, and then they have to compete to the death with one another. If you like the premise, if that sounds pretty cool to you, then you'll probably like it. All right, it's well done for what the subject material is. However, it is 35 minutes past.
I know, there's just like stuff all over the place.
I'll get to it, my love. I'm sorry. It's probably because of all of the spatters of the oils yesterday.
Yeah, it looks like oil was spilled.
Spilled.
A lot.
Like, yeah, I'm sure it's fine. Thank you, my love. I'm just feeling some things. Stressed. Tense. Yeah. Hunger Games. Fun enough. Fun enough to watch. Why is Vance on so many people's brains lately? Because he's a dumb guy and he thinks he's hot shit, and that's why it's funny. Yeah, I don't think about him at all. I don't think about him at all. Not even a little bit of my brain has to think about political candidates.
Think about it a little bit. You're talking about it. You're thinking about it.
Sam was talking about him.
You're talking about it right now too.
Who? Yeah, that's what I thought. She didn't fall for it. Who are we talking about anyway? Melt is blue today. Yeah, got my blue fit on. Feeling pretty blue. I'm blue on my screen. Melt, did you unmod me? No, you're modded on my side. You should still have the powers. I think you've already been using it. Bleh, why aren't you blue, Sam? Only the tube. I'm confused too. HRUU Tom Hardy. Do I look like Tom Hardy? Christy says, my friend came over and we went to the park. And I'm autistic. And I was being silly because I can't control because I'm autistic. And the person that didn't like me being silly, he slapped me. That is unfortunate. I'm sorry that happened to you. Maybe you shouldn't be friends with him anymore, right? The people that are equally as autistic as you are will appreciate you for your silliness instead of slapping you for it. There is a shield, just white text. Figured which is another update, probably is. You're blue on my side. No colored letters whatsoever here. And you're green on my side, Prairie Wolf saw. Things are still working, just maybe not on your side. The real Amber buyers, much love to you. Thank you for sending us love too. It's nice having you. My screen looks normal. Prairie is green, Nan and I are blue. Feels like Darren should be blue too, but I'm not in charge of that. Why are you stressed, Melt? I'm just thinking about my love. Like, when I see her busy, I want to help. You know, like it's one of those things where it's like, oh, let me help you. Love you, Xiao. Did you make coffee?
No, I know.
Oh, okay. I was wondering if you should take it with you. It's okay. Love you. Hey, what's up, man? I like the outfit. Next time I would try to wear something blue though. I am wearing other colors. Look, here's white. That's like a brownish creamish. There's like technically other colors there. I can add more blue. I could be bluer. I could. So what's going on? What's the topic? Today's topic is thinking about the nesting doll of an experience that is the mind being held by your body. That is the body being held by our world. That is our world, our planet being held by reality. Space-time. What is space-time being held by? And what is that thing that holds space-time being held by? And what is that thing that is held by space-time? That is holding space-time. What is that holding by? Yes. Keep going. Keep going until your brain explodes. Where does it end? All right. And how much of it is being held by me? Because I can hold things in my mind. All right. I can hold hope for a beautiful future. One where everybody has their needs met, where medical services are accessible, where robots make our lives just a little bit easier. Right, I can hold that in my mind, but I can also hold in my mind nuclear Armageddon. All right, just bombs exploding all over the place. All right, that sounds rough. And both of those can be held in an instance, right, where my body is held by the earth over long periods of time, and the earth is held by space over billions of years. And space has existed, as we consider it, for like 13 billion years, right? So it seems like there's a long time tail, and then there's a smaller time tail for our earth. And then there's a smaller still time scale for our human bodies. And then there's a smaller time scale for our human thoughts, right? Is there something that goes beyond our thoughts as well? Maybe something can be held within a thought. I'm trying to imagine if there's another layer, another dimension to this topic. Maybe you can tell me. Maybe you can add a layer. Why you skipped my question? It must have been a bad question, Daryl. Must have been. Maybe I just didn't see it. That could be it as well. Air is good right here. Nice plant setup. Thank you, Shan. I appreciate the love. I watered them this morning. I watered them a little bit yesterday too, but especially this morning. Dan! Dan is here. You float on a sea of nothing. One by one, the waves of empty space wash over you, creating a state of calm serenity. Or is it calm serenity? No, it's JD Vance. To be continued. Yes, you're not on an ocean. You're on JD Vance. It's all JD Vance. It's actually always been it's Dan. We've missed you, Dan. I've missed you, bro. I was thinking about you this morning brushing my teeth. I was like, I haven't seen Dan in a while. Hope he's well. Sure gonna tell him I miss him. Well, I did miss him when he comes back into chat. And then here you are. Love to you, bro. Sending you blessings. I don't even know what that means, Hover. Stop being stupid. How it feels like to be unemployed. No, this is what it feels like to chew 5 gum, in fact. I am employed. Not by any country, not by any state, not by any person, not by any employer, no. I am employed by the Intergalactic Council, yes. They have assigned me Earth. I used to exist in the year 3700, you know. Things are really good in the future. And then they were like, oh, things are getting bad right now. We're going to send you back into the past, and then you're going to help nudge reality just a little bit towards the case scenario that we intended. And then boom, I get born into a human body. And then I'm just like, what is going on? Why is everything bad? Why is everything so bad? All right, I've gotten used to it, everything being so good. And then suddenly, here I find myself being judged by people on the internet for being unemployed. You know, boom, full circle. I'm getting held. I'm just going to leave. That's okay, Christine. When people do bully you, leaving is the best thing you can do. Dictate from Pape. Hello, sir. Hello, Boxy. It's much easier to just think space is infinite. It's definitely easier. It's definitely easier to just think of space as infinite. But what is holding that infinity, right? Where infinite means that it just keeps going, right? Is there nothing that needs to hold it? Is there just space? Is there just space just goes on? There's just more and more of it. It's horrifying. It's actually horrifying to really think about it. I start thinking about it, and my brain starts having a mild panic attack about it. It's like, oh, I'm gonna scream. If you keep thinking about scream, it's like, okay, brain. All right, though, I'll put it down. I'm sorry, a little ox. Well, the future definitely is automation and mechanization. The question is, how are we going to handle it in this country and in the world? Are we gonna make universal income a thing, or are we just gonna let the world burn? I'd like to believe that it is in the best interest of those who have the means to make universal wealth a thing to do so, right? Because you can build yourself all the bunkers you want, If the entire world is in absolute chaos, if everybody wants to kill everybody, including especially you with all of your infinite wealth, I don't know if that's going to be a good place to live, right? Turning planet Earth into Mad Max world, even if you're one of the powerful ones, you're still getting killed, right? Eventually, probably. So I think it's going to be a matter of like, let's just not bring about that case scenario. Let's make sure people have enough to not want to riot and burn down the world. I looked into the multiverse concept. It's intriguing. Yeah? Prairie Wolf? What part of it really resonated with you? Is it the part that makes you think about the multiple versions of yourself? Is it the part that makes you think about the multiple versions of yourself and the different life paths that they chose? Or is it almost like a way of thinking of yourself as free to explore this reality? I'm worried with all the data centers that stores information might have its own gravitational field, and eventually they're gonna mess with the Earth's gravity, possibly having massive sinking spots. I don't know about all of that, Darren. If we figure out how to manipulate gravity, everything is gonna get way cooler really quickly, right? Because then suddenly all of us have Jetsons level transportation, right? All of our cars would just be able to lift off the ground, like, will be pretty sick. I'm down for that. Domes of nature is in my opinion. Domes of nature, in my opinion, combat. I don't know exactly what that means. You are so amazing. Thanks, Jeff. It's nice of you to say. Melt, I believe your time travel story, just for the record. I am only half joking when I tell that story, Combat Journey. I don't know if it's the year 3700. That might be a little bit too far in the future. It might even just be post-singularity. I might be a super sophisticated AI even. I might not have been even a person in the future. Sent back to be one though, right? And you can make it make sense, right? You can make it make sense. If you really understand the way the world works, you can propagate a frequency backwards. I think so, right? And if you get really specific and you can encode information into frequencies, right? If you get really specific with the information you encode into that frequency, you could hit the person somewhere in the past. Little did I know that I got hit. I also went through a bunch of traumatic stuff as a child that I think kind of cracked open my noggin a little bit, right? And it feels almost like it was intentional. I drowned as a child. Like really drowned. Like was blue when they got me out of the water with the leaf gatherer of the pool. Right? Literally I was at the bottom of the pool when they scooped me out. Rushed me to the hospital, pumped my lungs of water, put me on ventilators, etc., etc. They believed that I would be severely brain damaged if I did survive. Something, you are severely brain... Stop it! Stop saying mean stuff to me, I'll cry. But I do think that experience changed something in my brain, right? I don't think I died completely, but I do believe that my brain went into a neuronal protective state, right? And we understand that our brains can do that by releasing copious amounts of dimethyltryptamine, naturally produced, right? It is neuron protective, right? It helps your neurons not die in an oxygen-deprived state. And I think that's basically what happened to me as a little child. I had my entire mind busted open at a very young age. And the rest of my life has been chaos since then. It's just been, right, like when I started gaining awareness, when I started having the wherewithal to understand what I was experiencing, most of what I was experiencing was darkness, right? Like extreme concerning levels of darkness. And I had to learn how to be okay despite of it, right? Like the internal visuals didn't stop. It was like there was a a door opened in my mind and there's just stuff pouring in all the time. Right now, there is a flying saucer of all things, but it looks almost cartoony. It has like a little dome on top of it. The glass goes straight up and then curves around, and it had like little colors as like spots around the disc of the flying saucer. Right, cartoony in the way where it looks like a child had drawn it. Yes, yes. There's still stuff happening in the back of my head. I just have to close my eyes to go and see it. You are so justified. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, Jeff. Daryl, I don't think that's possible. I will be back. I'm going to take my autistic medicine. It makes me sick, so I'm sorry. It's okay, friend. I hope not, Nancy, but if you arrange magnets in a certain order, they affect magnifies. So maybe the electrons in the data chips, when at such a large scale, can interfere and harmonize in a way and give rise to macro phenomena that we don't currently understand. If that's the case, Daryl, again, awesome. That sounds awesome. I hope that happens. Right. I highly doubt it because that's not how any of this works. But maybe. If anything, these super intelligent machines will understand very deeply novel physics, right? They'll understand the quantum realms beyond the way that we can even articulate, right? And then I can envision them building technology that will allow us to, defy gravity. But I do not know that the actual data centers themselves will have anything happen in them. Right? They use electricity to calculate things, technically. Hot take. I don't give a fuck about the future. The future is now. That is a pretty hot take. The future is now. The future is just not equally distributed. Right? That's my belief personally. So that it's already here. It just needs to be shared. Right? And that's happening a little by little too. Daryl, meaning it wouldn't be as strong as the Earth. Exactly. Yeah. What are you saying about gravity and data centers? I like how that's become the new synonymous thing, data centers. I think we know how to control gravity to an extent with the extended electrodynamics, focusing on using scalar waves and through electrogravitics via the Byfield Brown effect. Also, zero-point energy is basically the Kashmir effect. Why we don't use it befuddles me. Daryl seems like he's like in it. Darren, this guy looks like he knows some stuff, but I don't know if the stuff you know is known by most people. And Daryl, right? 0-point energy would be really cool, but I think again, it's a matter of assembly, right? Like we are now starting, like it's happening on planet Earth right now as well. We're starting to build fusion reactors, like actual fusion reactors. It's happening. Like it's literally they're building them right now, right? There's already been contracts signed for the amount of electricity they're supposed to output, right? Because again, the hungry data centers, as we say. So in that way, I don't know. I think it's a matter of what we can build, right? And I think we'll get there eventually. It won't have to be befuddled too long. Yeah, that's what are you doing now to make it happen? Yes. As far as the gravity goes, I'm more interested in gravity and space exploration. I guess you could have a spinning spaceship, but what about when you're not on the ship? Have you watched Project Hail Mary, Nancy? You should. If you like talking about gravity and space exploration, Project Hail Mary has some cool stuff. Data centers are the worst. Repent to Sam Altman or burn for eternity in the overheated CPU. It's kind of funny. You manipulate the gravitational field itself using extremely high voltages, creating a bubble of space-time that has its own inertial field. Yeah, like creating little gravity wells, right? Making that magnetic field so strong that you literally want to fall into it, allowing you to travel, for example. I just don't know if we have what it takes to make those high voltages, right? And we potentially don't have to go high amperage, right? So maybe we can. with a bunch of capacitors or something create higher voltage. But I'm still not necessarily completely convinced. Quinn is here saying hi, hello. Where does the energy for the high voltage come from? It comes from me, Boxy says. How are you? A great tragedy happened with me today. More tragedies? Tell me about it, Zooks. I am open. I can absorb all of your tragedies and be fine relentlessly. Hi, Ashy. It's nice having you here too. Cold fusion and aneutronic fusion. I think our blacklisted technology, like the gravity tech I mentioned, nope, it's happening, dude. It's happening. I don't think they're gonna be doing. They're gonna be doing plasma fusion at first, of course, but I don't know about blacklisted technologies. I just think it's a matter of building them, right? And again, if you build tech, if you build things that generate energy, right, then you cannot contain that energy, or explosions. I think that's the big problem, right? It's like it's the same reason we kind of like deregulate or upregulated the amount of regulation we have around our nukes. So decommissioned, that's the word I was looking for. Decommissioned a lot of our nukes because we couldn't ensure that they don't go boom. Yo, bro, I'm a virgin. What do you want to say about me? I don't want to marry. I don't have anything to say about you, your friend. If you don't want to marry, do you want to remain a virgin? That's your prerogative, right? More power to you. Maybe you should go and like meditate in the Himalayan mountains with like some ascetic monks. I think it'll be easier to remain celibate in that case. But let me know. Keep showing up. Let me know how that serves you. Nancy, we can transmit electricity wirelessly. Remember, true. We can use phased arrays essentially to beamform electricity towards a direction. But again, you would have to blast something with so much radiation in that way for it to be able to get enough electricity to have a high enough voltage for it to be able to travel. And then you would only be able to travel in the range that electricity can be beamed from. Maybe we can do that in the short term here on Earth. You can have like a massive site, and then you can have something fly, and it has like an antenna that beamform slash maybe it could beamform, but you have to like turn off some of the antennae. So you're basically working with interference. I don't know how much electricity you use when you do that, or how much you lose when you do that. Why are you being aggressive, Combat? His name is Combat. That's what I would say, Daryl. If you're not using a technology the way you think, we probably haven't figured it out yet. And if you figured it out, go ahead and change the world. Yeah, I think he does sometimes show up with a little bit of matter of fact energy. I can be the same, right? That's why I shared the whole, also the same thing where it's like, if it was a thing, then it's probably just a matter of the struggle in building it, right? That it's not so much a matter of if or if not it's possible. It's a matter of if or if not it can be applied, right? Can it be applied? Can it be scaled? I got my Odyssey tickets, y'all, next week on Friday in IMAX, and they finally teased the Batman Part 2. Lucky fish. Yeah, if you want to watch the Odyssey, watching it in IMAX is apparently the way to go. It's like what, 16K pixel resolution, so your eyeballs are gonna get so much details in them. Dan, I hope it's fun. Friday, that's today. Next week, Friday. Okay. I saw Project Hail Mary, and honestly, don't really remember much about it. Wow. Did you watch it late at night, Nancy? There was a scene where they basically made their own gravity, right? Very clunkily. It's kind of like, it's kind of cringe watching it happen, but it was still kind of cute, you know. Think all of the stuff that they did in that movie was very apt to what space would be like. Blacklisted tech, the Manhattan Project 2.0 is the UAP phenomena you're all witnessing. That would be pretty cool if that's the case, Daryl. What are your sources? Where do you get this information? I will go back and read about it, though. You made no point. You said if you're smart, why don't you go do it? Because I'm not smart enough, and the work is classified. Are you in therapy a lot? I need more and more therapy the more I do these live streams. I am back, Loveless. I'll just disclaim I'm not saying everything that I say is fact. I've just seen evidence for everything that I've mentioned. I am not. I am not LG TV person like you to watch Odyssey with Elliot Page and Queen is from another continent. Why does it matter to you? NG Tracker? None of the people in the movies you watch are actually the people they're pretending to be. You do know that part, right? That's like a very big part of movies, is that you're watching someone pretend to be someone else. Yeah? So that's what you're watching. You're watching the person they're pretending to be. So who they are in the real world should be of very little consequence. You know, what or what not they do in their personal life, if or if not they have a petness, who or who not they want to put that into matters little. Matters very like nothing, in fact, right? Because you're supposed to be immersed in the actual story. Maybe that's what your gripe is. It's like, oh, it's pulling me out of the experience. You know, I'm not immersed anymore, and it's like that's a you problem. That's the you problem, right? How about you leave your bias at the door as you walk into the theater, right? And watch the movie. It's a movie, right? There's zero stakes. If you watch or don't watch the movie, they do not care. Maybe they will care on a bottom line level, right? Maybe they won't make as much money as they intend to. However, on a realistic level, the money has been spent. Right? They've already made their money. They've already paid their actors. They've already paid their camera crews. Right? All of the money has been spent. They don't care. They don't care. And you using your free will and consciousness to be like, oh, Elliot Page. Oh, or like, please, dude. How old are you? Right? You're either like a 65-year-old boomer or you're brainwashed. Those are the two options. Hello, I'm Variety, your personal hover fan. You're not going to get to stay, dude. I'm sorry. Speaking of high voltages, have you seen the new In Motion P6 EUC? I have. I have, Mojo. I want it. But also not. It'll probably be very cumbersome to ride. It does weigh like, I think, 45 kilograms. But it's true. It is true. It goes 93 miles an hour. That thing won't drop you. It'll be no point. People literally try, right, to over torque those things. That thing has an incredible amount of torque, Mojo. I probably will end up getting myself another wheel soonish, right? I've talked to a friend about trying to fix my wheel. I need to get it to him, and then we need to sit down and try and get it working. But yeah, silly Bo Billy me. My scars remain. Healed at least. Yeah. What's that person's name? Is it Kayla? Skyla. Skyla, like, we're not going to be able to tolerate you being in this space if you're going to be so disruptive, I think is the word, right? Like, we talked about how we don't allow children into this space, and you're making it very clear why we don't, right? It's like, how am I supposed to help this person? I'll be here. I'll be here. When you turn 18 and you have learned how to, socialize, I'll be here on the other side. I'm at the barber shop and they have a Playboy magazine on the table in the waiting spot. Who is going to pick that up? Like, who wants to look at that in a room full of dudes? There's probably a bunch of people that want to do that. However, I'm sure you're going to gain a new novel disease as soon as you flip one of those pages and all of the grime that has been breathed, suddenly escapes, turning you into a, creature. Yeah, but it's like, my movies, but I like my movies historically accurate. Yeah? NG Tracker? You like your movies historically accurate. What part of it is not historically accurate? Have you seen it? Have you seen the movie? No, because Elliot Page. I'm like, so you don't know whether or not the movie is historically accurate. So you don't know. NG Tracker. You see what I mean with the whole limiting yourself? You're limiting yourself. There's like so much experience to be had. And you limiting yourself because of what? Hearsay? Because of bigotry? Like, why? Bro, what do you do for a living? A little bit of everything. Some of the time. Then probably Pete. I could give you a lot of sources. Just remember the name Townsend Brown. His electrogravic work I mentioned was used in the B2 Spirit Bomber along the wings, creating an electric charge which reduces its inertia. That's pretty cool. It's true, Nancy. Oh, yeah. So his work is confirmed to have been used, and there's footage of him popping champagne, celebrating with his two-plate experiment, which makes me think it was successful. Did you hear the Hex Seth is literally testing people's testosterone levels as a prerequisite to working at the Pentagon? No more sissies. Our country is a clown show. That is pretty wild. All right. Especially since you can, just put testosterone in yourself. So it's like, yeah, use steroids if you want to be Pentagon person. Oh, it's not only my opinion, he says. Look how the Odyssey trailer got ratioed into oblivion with dislikes. It's like, again. All right? Like, if you're going to base your reality based on internet mob culture, you're going to have a bad time, dude. You're going to have a really bad time because you can find probably a subset of the community of anything that hates everything, right? And if you keep looking for that part of humanity that hates, you'll find yourself hating. And all I'm saying, NG Tracker, is that maybe that isn't good for you, right? Never mind even the rest of the world, but just good for you, right? Do you think that's good for you? Having this jaded, everything is bad, looking out into the world with absolutely no room for nuance, right? Do you think that's good for you? Is a hot dog a sandwich? I'd say yes, but I think I'd get stoned for saying so. Hello, bro. What's your goal in life? My goal in life is to make the world a little bit of a better place, right? I struggle, fail sometimes even, right? But I am as much of the world as you are. And we are together here more of the world than any one of us would be alone. And by coming together in this way and reminding each other of the good that there is in this world and the hope that we have in sharing with one another, I do believe that we are making the world a little bit of a better place. So my goal is being actively achieved, little by little. Mm. Then I did see that Hexeth is nah. Nancy is also like, nah. That's such like 14-year-old boy shit. Show me how big your muscle is, bro. Do you have big muscles? If you don't got big muscles, then you cannot push our computer buttons. You need really big muscles to press our computer buttons. Never mind the fact that high testosterone has been linked to increased aggression, right? But I guess if you're gonna be warmongering, more aggression is probably seen as a good thing. I have a Swedish accent. NG Tracker. Yes, I live in America. By the way, getting replaced in real time. I live in America, and I come from South Africa, where our like population distribution. Where I come from, my color skin is the minority, right? So like if we were getting replaced in real time, it's done. is done pretty much, and still there we are. Still we continue to exist, right? Still we have families. Still we have, my mom does paintings. She has like these little art classes that she's been hosting in her space with other people as well. People are going on with their lives, NG Tracker. And then she has put them away. Good. You're on a timeout. Love, or saying to love, Daryl says, no need to apologize. I appreciate it though. I don't mean to sound matter of fact. It annoys anyone. I just like sharing theories and hearing what people think about them. I think it's fun to have these conversations, Daryl. And I've been appreciating your presence here in this space with us. It's not historically accurate at all. Helen of Troy wouldn't be black. Yeah, again, Jason Rogers. Helen of Troy is not someone we know what they look like, right? We just don't. They could have been whatever, right? Sure. I agree that we shouldn't be casting people in roles that they don't fit, right? If we're going to shoot a movie, right, in a Japanese world, right, with samurai and shoguns and whatever, right? It would be a little bit awkward if all of the shoguns had black wives, right, instead of Asian wives, right? I'd be like, huh? That doesn't seem very historically accurate, right? But at the same time, I've never seen a TV show where a bunch of samurai have black wives. So it could be interesting as a premise, right? I could see something new. I could gain some novelty from my media and not see the same thing over and over again. All right, what are you getting stuck on? We love that. We love having new people. Please stay, Daryl. Greece had no interaction with the African nations at that time of history. Yeah, Jason Rogers. You know that for certain. Have you read the poem by Robbie Burns that states, with my love is like a red rose? I think you're spoiling my bit, Daryl. There it is. Bro, you're so good. Go to heaven. Ah, no, I should have. But I said no thank you, right? I want to make a joke that might be offensive to some, but there is this belief in the Bible that if you are really good, if you are so holy and so perfect, that God will just come and get you. It's like, no need to worry, no need to wait to die before you go to heaven. Just come on into heaven already, right? And then he did. He was like, come on, Melt, come on into heaven. And then I was like, no, thank you. No, thank you. I actually have way too much to do. There's so much left on Earth for me to do. And then I stayed. Yep, that's how it happened. I'm pretty sure I just sent myself to hell by making that joke, but it's worth it. Worth it. Somehow. There's newly sprung in June. Nah, but I choose it because it's a poem by Robert Burns. I'm Scottish, so I learned it in nursery. That's cute. It's Christy Young. Yeah, 10-year-old. I hope she's okay. I'm sure she is. It's just a matter of, I think, like, probably a little bit of attention, right? I try to give my community members attention in this space, and I do believe that adds value, right, in some way. However, we do talk about stuff like we were talking about freaking the quantum. We were talking about meme culture with our political parties. We were talking about mind being able to hold different complex concepts, being held by a body, being held by a planet. We talk about stuff that's a little bit heady sometimes, and it's not exactly the subject matter that the average 10-year-old finds themselves fascinated with. So as a result, I have found more often than not that when a child comes into this space, they aren't engaging with the actual subject matter. They're just stuck in their own little experience, which is understandable, of course. However, because of that, they end up like sharing the stuff that they are stuck with in their own experience. Some of it is factual, some of it is said to get a response, right? Some bits of information are a little bit more sensitive, right? So it might elicit a certain type of response. And I don't know if I have the bandwidth. Why I need to be mindful of my language then. Yeah, mass replacement, migration theory. We really get around on the topics on this channel. Exactly, Daryl. Like it goes very fast, right? And it's a matter of uh, I feel like brainwashing. It's like we can really like in real time watch the brainwashing unfold. And I am very unwilling to get brainwashed. I'm very matter of fact about the things that I see. I can disagree with things, right? And I do. But if I disagree about things, I don't tell people, right? Like I'll keep my disagreements to myself for the most part. You can say any fucking thing you want here. We primarily talk about conscious evolution, our choices, and our happiness and shit like that. And young folks do not have the self control just yet. Awesome. I'll be able to have some fun back and forth, I'm sure. We show up every day, Daryl, literally every single day. We'll be here for you. Esotericism of any stripe makes kids very excited. It's romanticized, the seclusion, the specialness of knowing something someone else does not. They don't have the maturity to handle the space just yet. I mean, sure, there's obviously limits. Debate that gets heated and personal is off limits. Mostly just don't be a dick and be okay with letting the other person be wrong. Yeah. Did Helen of Troy actually exist? That's the thing, Nancy. That's the thing. Like we're like, oh, historical accuracy. Stories, right? If we made a movie, right? Like maybe that's the thing. So many people were like chomping at the bit to watch all of the Jesus movies. All right. And how many times did they cast Jesus as a white guy? Nobody. Nobody has any problems. Nobody has a single qualm. Not a single qualm is racist. No, everybody is just like, yeah, 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 let's go watch this movie. Let's go watch it. You know? But Jesus was not white. Definitely not. Right? If he even existed at all. Right? Because again, that's one of the biggest stories, apparently, of someone existing. And I'm not even sure that I'm convinced of that one. Right? So how am I supposed to be convinced of Helen of Troy? I don't even know the story. Right? Is the Odyssey, it's not the Trojan story, is it? Like again, I don't even know. I don't even know. So why are people getting the stick up their asses about this whole thing? That's just created love eyes for life in general read. Was one woman hot enough to lead two Greek nations to war against one another? Well, honestly, they'd have fought each other for any other fucking thing. If she existed, she was just a convenient excuse. Yeah, I could see that happening. I can 100% see that happening. It's like, yeah, people want to fight, and then they're like, yeah, but it's this and that person. It was her fault. The whole Adam and Eve story all over again. Can I call you Red for short? My name is Sam, bud. Nice to meet you, Sam. Oh, friends are being made. Gabbity Goo joining us here as there's friends being made. Hey, Gaps. It's nice having you here. Good morning to you. Yes, it is. Are you feeling better? Yes, Nancy. Very well, thanks. Feeling balanced. Nice. I'm feeling balanced this morning too, Gabs. Yo, Mike. I'm sorry, I'm only speaking Spanish and I don't speak English, but holla. Hello, San. San Celeste. No problem whatsoever. I do think that my Google will even auto translate your Spanish words if you do only know how to say things in Spanish to me. I'd be able to reply to you anyway, as long as you can understand what I say. We got Daryl saying, I had to stop watching Chase Hughes content for my mental health because his techniques to identify manipulation, propaganda, and psyops were lifting the veil too much and leaving me in deep desperation and deep depression. He was saying, deep depressions. That's pretty rough, Daryl. I think it does have that kind of nature to it, right? It's like there's only so much that the individual is supposed to know about. And I do have this dual perspective. Like on the one side, it's good that we know, right? Because knowing will give us the ability to change something about our future. However, at the same time, it does seem, like as you said, that it throws us into a deep state of depression when we feel like we can't do anything about it, right? Like just the current wars that are happening, for example. Like if you just look at what's going on there and you keep exposing yourself to that information day after day after day, if you don't fall into depression, you have to be a psychopath or something, right? I have sad news. Yeah, you had better not. There's only like 200 documents that reference Alexander the Great and around 300 that reference Genghis Khan. And we know them to be real figures. Jesus is referenced by over 25,000. Again, Daryl, again, I'm not saying that he's not real. I'm just saying that how much of it is, like, again, a psyop, right? I don't know if you know, right? But the books in the Bible that are now, being read are curated, right? Very curated. So there's like a lot of the Bible that's missing, right? Which means to me that there is manipulation, there is psyop, there is what's the other word you used? Propaganda. Yes, it's propaganda, dude. And what are you trying to be propagandized towards, right? Selling your soul to some entity. And that's basically what it is, right? You have to give your soul in order to be saved. Sounds suspiciously close to, selling my soul to the devil. Suspiciously close. Very suspicious in how close it is. And I have had like the hair in the back of my head raised since I was a little kid. That whole thing, I was like, I don't know about all of that. Mike is making stuff, joining us too. You retracted your messages. I see there is more coming through. It's a spin-off. I think the Trojan story and the Odyssey both came from the same book, I believe. It's been a long time since middle school English. The Odyssey is what happened after the events of the epic cycle, a set of 8 long-form poems that told the story of the Trojan War. Okay, so I was in the same ballpark at the very least. I think that counts. Fun fact, my friend and I saw Passion of the Christ. The flogging started, people weeping. My friend stage yelled, "Don't worry, I read the books, he's gonna be okay." We got thrown out of the theater. Dude, Passion of the Christ fucked me up. Oh, like literally, I was having a hard time. I couldn't sleep. I was literally horrified, right? Horrified to the point of like shaking in bed. And then I prayed. I prayed. Oh, goodness, did I pray. And I prayed and I prayed. And there was no solace. So I went and slept next to my parents' bed. They didn't allow me on top of the bed, but I could sleep on the floor at the very least. And I felt safer there. And for those of you who are curious, the only surviving details of the epic cycle are Bronze Age cliff notes, incomplete notations, just impressions of general story arcs. Not saying he's real either. Christianity started as a fertility cult. Okay, good. I'm happy that we know these parts, right? Eating a lot of mushrooms. Fertilitying and eating a lot of mushrooms. Jesus was likely a student of the mystery schools, template, etc. Yeah, Templars. Exactly. I'm sure he went to China and studied under the yogis as well, if he was a real person, right? And came back with like the understanding that we are all God, right? That's what I feel the yogi or the yogic perspective brings, is that it's all God. There's no separation. And then Jesus brought that teaching to people who were stuck in, theology or monotheism, right? And then it was like, oh, this guy's blaspheming. We should kill him. Last night I watched The Rest is History. The topic was the Odyssey. It's a good explanation if you don't want to take the time to do the reading. There we go. Hello, handsome. Hey, wada. Jim. Caviazal. JC. Played Jesus at 33 years old. I love that. That's a good age. There's no proselytizing. Yeah. Well, I'm not surprised. The bots come out in full. He was a Buddhist, and if you'd like, I can explain that. You think Jesus was a Buddhist? Please, Mike. That's an interesting take. I don't know about the Buddhist take. I think you would have to go too far to get to the Buddhist perspective, but maybe. He was like unaccounted for like a couple of decades, right? What did she just freaking say? You get to listen. Yeah. No word. No proselytizing. Yeah. Yeah. We're not trying to attack. We're not trying to make you feel threatened in your religion or the things that you have come to believe. We're just being very open-minded and not allowing ourselves to just simply believe the things that we've been told. We're being like, We're being like, huh. We're being like, yes. Yeah, very suspicious. Logan is here again. Hello, Logan. Chaos theory? You believe in? Do I believe in chaos theory? I'm more likely to believe in game theory than I am to believe in chaos theory, Logan. Ugh. This reality seems to be based on some sort of game. Right? And the AIs in the future will probably understand game theory as well. And that I think is what we should be concerned about. We should be mildly concerned. Just a bit. Just a little bit. Just a little bit of concern for you. Ha 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 ha. Now we're talking. Some good stuff. Charria's here too. Hey, Char. Welcome. Jesus first was not the child of poor people. Joseph and Mary were loaded. Nobody poor travels all the way to Bethlehem to pay taxes when they are broke. Anyone remembers Joseph Brothers' profession? Can't say that I do, but it's a pretty hot take. It would explain why them having to book themselves into a barn was such a big deal, right? Because if you're loaded and the only place that can house you is a barn, that's a big thing, right? And then there's also the fact that they couldn't, with all of their loadedness, get them to do something else, but the people knew that they had to get something done, so they offered them the barn anyway. The Buddhist take sounds like Donald Hoffman's theory of consciousness and many other emerging consciousness stances, which is fascinating. MeltMore, how are things going in your area? Here in Minnesota, it is an extreme heat advisory, and the air quality alerts from all of the wildfires. It's rough, right? Like look at how I was looking out there. You can see all of the water. That's outside. Right? It's... I'm sorry about that. It's cool in there. In here. And it's hot out there. And extremely high humidity. Yeah. Pretty uncomfortable out there, Char. I hope you're staying well as well. It was a census. They traveled for a yearly trip, and they had to go. I thought it was like to be counted. I kind of thought that as well. I didn't know it was taxes paying. How am I dealing with anxiety? You know, daily Domino's. You eat Domino's, the pizza type daily? You should not do that. I'm sure that's helping you be more anxious. Joseph Brother owned a fleet of merchant ships that traded spice from the east. Oh my goodness. Then they were giga-jacked in money. Buddhists do not believe in a creator God, so I'm not sure about that part, yeah. Here is the take. Jesus worked for his uncle during his missing years as a shipwright and a carpenter. He heard the stories of the crews who went to Asia talking about Buddhism. He then decided to apply those peaceful edicts to his own faith, and that was innovative enough to be a whole new version of faith. That's a very interesting take. That's close up. I'm sorry, Joe. Good morning, friends. Good morning, Joe. I'm happy that you laughed at it. I didn't mean for it to be funny. I'm sorry to hear that. Love is true. Yeah. You talk about belief in God, but why am I suffering from childhood till now? Only suffering, I know. Yeah, Logan. Is that true? You suffer every time you eat something delicious. You suffer every time you see a beautiful sunrise or sunset. Only suffering when you see a cute little animal do something adorable. Only suffering when you get to lay your head on a pillow at night so that you can sleep. Just suffering, huh? I don't know if I believe you, dude. I'm not willing to admit that there's, or not willing to claim that there's no suffering, right? I suffer. Oh, yeah. I suffer. Suffering is wanting for things to be differently, right? That's what I believe suffering is. And in that way, suffering is something that you do to yourself. If you want your childhood to be different, you're gonna suffer because your childhood has already happened, right? You can't want for something that already was to be different. You can only make the most of what you have right now. I want plant pot with googly eyes. Did you see that? Oh yeah. I think Joe did that. Joe did the googly eyes on that one. And she did this one too, I noticed. Boop. You see that one? Yeah, there's a googly eye duty. Chilling in the corner. That's cute. Thank you, Joe, for cuting my space up. For people getting to notice some Easter eggs in my background. I think I need to do something about this wall next. Something needs to get done there. I don't know that a single universal consciousness is necessary. It's necessarily Buddhist either. What you mean by universal consciousness would need to be explained more. Give it a rest, Papa Roach. You ain't been suffering the whole time. I bet if you thought about it half a second, you would realize you're happier than you think. I humbly offer, compare the odd takes of Jesus to general Buddhist principles and see how many parallels there are. I'm not disagreeing with that, Mike. I was always thinking more Hinduism, but I can kind of see Buddhism as well. However, I also see overlaps between Hinduism's teachings and Buddhism teachings as well, right? Like all of the Asian teachings, like Eastern teachings, I really resonated with as a young man. Logan, I wasn't talking about belief in God. Very true. Anxiety is a lifetime punishment. You need to learn how to breathe, dear friend. Learn how to breathe. That's the best thing that you can do for yourself, Logan. And I'm serious. I'm not being facetious. Go and learn breathwork exercises. That will help you with your anxiety. All ideas and religious concepts got interchanged along the silk and spice route. Everyone added and borrowed ideas. I want the plant pot of googly eyes. Life is suffering. Just have to find meaning in the suffering and you'll be fine. Yeah. Stop wanting for things to be differently. As soon as you stop wanting for things to be different, right? It's like I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh, I wish I was there instead. Oh, if only I was there, then things would be better. But I'm here and that sucks. Suffer. That's what suffer is like. And all you have to do is realize that being here is fine. This is fine, right? And then the suffering diminishes. And even go so far as to offer for thought, isn't crucifixion the epitome of all life is suffering? I don't believe all life is suffering. No, we do not engage in sifting through our suffering for meaning to justify it. Sometimes we just suffer, and it means nothing. And torturing yourself of overanalyzing it is the real hell. My childhood was taken from me by an abusive father, so I didn't know what normal childhood is. And I'm sorry, Logan friend. I am sorry if that is the case. I can't imagine how hard it must be to have an abusive father. Right? I feel like my dad wasn't abusive, right? He did beat me, but he never was abusive. All right? That's the way I see it, at least. It's like he really did think that he was doing me a favor by beating me. However, I couldn't be bothered to listen anyway, right? So in that way, he just strengthened my resolve. He taught me extreme pain tolerance, right? All of the things that happened to me, despite it being probably deplorable in our modern society, was formative to me, right? And I can suffer that reality. I can be like, oh, That's the worst thing ever. Or I can realize that the rest of my life is ahead of me, right? And I don't have to have that stuff influence who it is I am going forward. Like the idea, it could be possible. There's definitely overlap between Hinduism and Buddhism, but there's also divergent roads. Absolutely. So much. Living is suffering. I'm ashamed I had kids. Robert, that's information to keep to yourself. Do not let your kids know. Now they gotta suffer. No, teach them how to be mindful. Teach them tools, how to deal with their anxieties. Teach them how to communicate with their fellow human beings. Teach them how to be okay with being bored, right? And you'll be equipping them to not suffer, right? It's up to you to be a good dad or a good parent now. I guess the way the Bassists believe is that there's a connection between all matter and mind. Although they don't call it consciousness, my best analogy is just that I guess. It's just that I guess. Suffering and poverty was the norm for most of humanity. There is no normal childhood. Every childhood has its own nuances. Every person is unique. Look into absurdism, Logan. Yeah, check out absurdism, right? Seriously. Those who don't have anxiety, stress, and depression, trust me, you're all blessed and in heaven right now. I used to have anxiety, stress, and depression. I tried to off myself with vodka and pills. Thank goodness my body rejected that stuff and I puked it out unconsciously. And I woke up the next morning still being alive. All right. So I understand how hard it can be, right? Being driven to that point where you feel the only option that is left for you is to just die. However, upon surviving that experience, it became very clear to me that I was instantly grateful, right? Despite the fact that I had a horrible headache and I felt extremely bad, right? I felt probably the worst I had felt in my life at that morning, waking up. I was still overcome with gratitude for being alive, literally, right? And it took me a lot of, just a lot in general, right? I don't even have to quantify. It took me a lot to get out of those loops of anxiety, loops of stress, and loops of depression. And I want you to know that it's possible for you too, Logan. It's not over. What's absurdism? Search. What is absurdism in YouTube? You have YouTube, you're here. What is absurdism? And then just go and look at that teaching, right? Realize that life is absurd and that makes it fun, right? You get to experience this world from a perspective of freedom, even. I have all of those, Logan. I had to learn how to manage it and not let it rule my life. The most notable parallel for me seems trivial to some. Buddhism teaches to seek inner existentialism, and Jesus happened to say, of all things, the kingdom of God is within you. Absolutely. That I believe too. That's the teachings of Jesus and the teaching of Buddhism that I really resonate with. Is your hair real, bro? Can you pull on it? Which part should I pull on? I'm scared to mess it up. It is gelled right now, right? It is very long as well. I don't think fake hair can do that. Yeah. Yeah. Does handles even matter? Does handle even matter? Sometimes. I'm gonna have to read that whole thing. I'm gonna call you does from now on. Absurdism is the idea that life has no inherent meaning, yet we can still create our own purpose and live fully despite the uncertainty and the chaos. Sam, for some, great cutting-edge consciousness research have to listen to Michael Levin and his work on biological memory and identity. I mean, right now we're starting to enter the era of the observer, right? That's going to be the next thing that we probably make a part of our scientific consensus, is that it's hard for us to understand consciousness, but we might be able to understand the observer, right? That have some distinct differences. And we'll probably see some of that. Holy shit, Melt. I'm glad you're here. Prairie Wolf. It was a very bad time of my life. And I'm very happy that I'm here too, right? And if I share these stories, I share it from the perspective of trying to add hope. I hope that I don't trigger you friends in sharing, some of that difficult stuff in my past as well. Makes me extra grateful to be here in these moments. In the Bible, water is a metaphor for truth. And because we all need it to survive, every major religion has begun in truth, the same truth. That's why you see those parallels now. Many are the roads that lead to the eightfold path. Oh yeah, love that, Joe. Jesus lived the life of a yogi master because that is the true spirit expression through self that we're meant to find through religion. Yeah. It's interesting that you say the Bible uses water as a metaphor for truth and also consciousness, stream of consciousness, etc. What you said about all religions starting in truth, I tried to find out. We got Mike saying, I am Taoist, but I see the perspective of something called ecumenarianism? Ecumenarianism? They need to work on their naming, because who the hell is gonna nism that way? Every religion leader climbs the nearest mountain and maps around them, arguing that their map is right, never knowing one thing. Yeah. The way I see it is that there is no separation, right? Instead of creating a whole body of work about what it is I believe, I try to simplify it down to love is true, right? That if I didn't love my life, I would just die. If I didn't love to eat, I would starve. If I didn't love to drink water, I would, die of thirst. If I wasn't loved by my parents, they wouldn't have raised me. If my parents didn't love each other, even a little bit, they wouldn't have had me. If their parents before them didn't love them enough to raise them, to have them, layers of love, perpetuating. That's the one truth that is actually pushing our species forward, right? And that's why I kind of like stop there. I'm like, yep, this is the one thing I can definitively say is to be true. And I stop myself there. I rest my case. I say, what remains when you let the main religious text cancel contradictions and keep only that which remains? That's a pretty cool, actually, like a prompt. You can do like deep research prompt. Research all of the religions, find all of the things that overlap, and discard all of the rest. And then a whole new document will come from it. I'm sure someone has already done that. Putting the maps side by side makes a more accurate map. That's cool. I like that, the map analogy, Mike. The first guide was Scythian warriors lighting trees to make bone glue for compound bows ever since religion and business outpaces the militaries. Interesting take, Michael Ward. I'm in a constant pain. Every person hurts. You're not in constant pain, dude. You're not in constant pain. You're in pain when you're asleep. Oh, I don't sleep, Melt. Yeah. Come here. Let me knock you out. I'll put you out of your pain. I'm joking, of course. I'm making a big joke, Daryl. Oh, that's not Daryl, that's Robert. I'm just joking, Robert. I'll stop the constant pain right now. I don't know why I'm being like boisterous. The masculine in me is kicking in. It's like, no, I don't believe you. The story of all of the text was truth, is that which sustains meaning. Buddhism does not teach to seek inner existentialism. Depends on who you ask, right? Like the Buddha himself did seek inner existentialism, right? Was like, yes, I'm gonna just sit with my existence, right? And he did have like a whole existential crisis coming out of his family home, right? And seeing how the world actually is. It was like, oh my god, oh, people are suffering. People are suffering out here, dude. People are really not having a good time. And then he became the Buddha. Nobody has it right, but they all have part of it. I follow the old way of Shuang philosophy of relaxation before Buddhism. I think relaxation is a big part. We find ourselves very stressed in our modern lives, so it's good that you found a way to relax. The separation of religion, those very closed off perspectives, they are necessary. We all learn differently, and the sorting system is meant to ensure that every person can access the truth. Yeah, culture, right? Why are we talking about only Buddhism? My hairs are cut. You got your hair cut short? How long was it when you got it cut then? I remember you saying you're gonna get a haircut. Is it fresh? I need to cut my hair again soon as well. It's also getting a little bit long on the sides again. I know, B Luna, that you're from India. It has been a while. Thank you for joining us again. Hope that you're doing well. Bro, that's already a thing. That's all the religions. Google the perennial philosophy, but don't tell perennial philosophy. That sounds cool. There we go. I thought that there would be, such a document. Mike, I resonate much with everything that you've shared. I've had teachers that studied Taoism, but I haven't checked it out myself much. You've piqued my interest more. Nice. Piqued my curiosity more. Daryl addressing me directly saying, "MeltMore, I did that with the text and used Feynman's path integral formula that he used to find the trajectories of particle collisions while canceling out the infinite paths that contradict." Particle collisions. That's an interesting way to think about text. You like use the formula on the text. Maybe that's what you're saying. So it isn't actually the formula itself is built for particles, but it can be used, I guess, for sentences too. They can be seen as little packets of particles. Hey Dan, hey Joe. Nice. Love is being shared. Yes. I've moved and honored that I've brought Taoism to someone to serve and be served is one and the same. Love is true. What's the agenda? Today's stream topic was about all of the ways in which we're held, right? The way that your mind, your consciousness is held by this body, the way this body is being held by this couch right now, how this couch is being held by the floor, how the floor is being held by the earth, how the earth is being held by this vacuum of space, how this vacuum of space is held by what? What is it held by? Right? And that almost like expanding of our minds and thinking about the ways in which there's like nesting dolls of experience happening has led us talking about religion a little bit. And it's been an interesting conversation for the most part. Abili, how about you? Meaning to exist. The remaining messages were love others as you love yourself, and truth is that which sustains meaning, which alludes to no objective truth without more than one observer as you have to agree for. Meaning to exist. Yeah. Again, love is true, right? That's what I see. That's what I see. Truth is that which sustains meaning. Yeah. Love. And love yourself and love others, right? Yeah. Seems like I've had it since day one. Boom. What are we discussing? We're discussing love right now, dear friend. I guess before Buddhism was a Buddhist, he was Hindu. So from what you said, Mel, it would be more correct to say Hinduism teaches inner existentialism. There we go. I think long hair is like having all your teeth. What? Buddhism emphasizes that the self is an illusion and clinging to it is the root of our existential suffering. Yeah, exactly. Tuned in and I'm enjoying. Thanks, Mr. Meltmore. Kevin, thank you for enjoying the space here with us. What's beyond the quantum fields? Exactly. What is? If only I had an answer, but I don't. Joe Bop Beep Boop, to know that you're curious in something that may give you catharsis It means my day was worth waking for. There is no separation. Exactly. Interdependence. We're all students of the truth, Mike. I'm going to create a cheaper Whole Foods and call it Half Foods. Well, corner of the market. We'll corner the market. Will be the place that we launch the Swagger brand from. Yes. We're going to do Half Foods, right? And it's basically just the exact same packages that Whole Foods has. Like we buy whole food packages and then we chop those packages in half, right? Literally, right? We'll use one of those like heating presses, splitting a bag of salad into smaller bags of salad, and then we'll painstakingly cut our new half foods, and then we'll sell them for like 10 cents more than the actual product would have been. But it looks cheaper relatively. All right. We still have to make some margins. 10 cents is a decent margin, right? I'd probably still go out of business, right? And then remember the whole yes. And then before anybody knows, they'll be going to Half Foods thinking they're gonna buy Half Foods. But then every single shelf, instead of being small slivers of the products they used to buy, will be Swagger tubes. Yes. Every shelf will have a Swagger tube on it. This, I don't know if it's going to be the same. I was going to make it worse and say it's the same flavor for every single shelf. But just the entire store will be Swagger. And a little luck will become a monopoly and enslave humanity. Yes. Just a little bit of luck. I want to buy stock down. Ground floor. Let's have the sea level snow parties. Oh my goodness. It makes perfect sense. Daryl. Melt, when you're looking for what is outside, Roger Penrose's conformal cyclic cosmology may give you something to grasp onto. You're talking about the whole nesting thing? I think you might be right. I think the more we embrace the liberal uniform of Taoism, the more we prevent violence and incest. Yeah, I think it's hard, right? Especially because we live in a society where we become very much indoctrinated into a certain way of seeing the world. And then everybody around us sees the world in the same way. And if you start seeing the world differently, you're the odd one out, all right? Getting everybody on the same page at the same time is exceedingly difficult. We're just seeing everything unfolding. The ultimate primary cause inherits all this happening. It's cause and effect. I accidentally swiped on the stream, and there was a Trumper talking about how you should have to pay welfare to people who don't try. Is this 1988? Haven't heard them go to welfare route in a while, of course. It's just another thing, right? It's like these people are just like talking heads for the same bullshit. It's like what kind of person do you have to be to want to argue against taking care of people, right? Because they're not trying. Yes, they're not trying. That's why we shouldn't take care of them. All right, I try so hard, and I'm still broke, and I'll be damned if anybody else doesn't try as hard as I do and get one up on me or something. Determinism broke down at the quantum level. Oh yeah. So you think that there's a one universal code that if you run it, you could recreate the universe. That's similar to Stephen Wolfram's cellular autonoma theory of everything. Yeah, running out of things to be performatively angry about that. Exactly. Sam knows. Thanks for mentioning Roger Penrose, Daryl. It's a good one. We're talking about the fantastic quantum universe. It's a beautiful being able to see places we never knew existed. Hey, where the melt thumbs be? Thank you, Hoopty Hoops, for thumbing up the stream. Appreciate ya. The existence and the universe basically operates on the laws, the cause and effects, that nothing is random. Stop. It's all bound to happen ever. It's all bound to happen ever. It's domino effect. Everything. Good point, Sam. Maybe they've gotten tired about the transition. Yeah. Yeah. I think I am ready to like soften my grasp on reality a little bit. Look at this cute little dinosaur. Isn't that wholesome? Mm. All right, I return. Physics can be unified through a relativist continuous real number autonoma that averages simultaneously its local unit sphere of values per cell. I totally know what all of those words meant. Yep, I'm so smart. I'd be lying, Daryl. I think I could understand what you're saying. Physics can be unified through a relativist continuous real number autonoma that averages simultaneously its local unit sphere of values per cell. It could. It could. Makes me think about nanomachines when I read something like that. I'm like, yeah. Maybe if we figure it out, maybe we can finally have nanomachines. Right? I think it's a scale problem. I think because things fall apart at different scales, that's why we don't. They also should Google what welfare is, because I guarantee at least half of them are on it. Yep. Nancy Penrose is a hero, ain't he? What are we concerned about today? You're asking Nancy directly? Even Newton said something similar, that we can predict the so-called future if we were capable of processing every particle. Yeah. In order for us to process every particle, we would have to have more energy to put through a computer than our universe contains, right? So odds are that we're probably not rendering all of reality. We're probably just rendering this experience you're having, right? That the experience in front of you is the one that gets rendered. And the rest of it ceases to exist. All right, that's the only way that we can handle the energy requirements. Because if we have to simulate every particle all the time, there is not enough energy in this universe. Literally. We can use every black hole, every star, every granule of dirt, right? Burn it all, spend it all, and we still would not be able to run this reality that we're in. So it comes back to our consciousness being the real medium. The observer, this part of you that sees, is the one that changes reality. Pee Wee Himmler just declared leftists to be a cancer on civilization. Man. The Heritage Foundation playbook continues its run page by page almost. Again, I think the big problem is this a dual system, right? The two-party system. That is the real problem. Because then you force people into a camp, one or the other camp. And then if you disagree with one thing that the left does, then you have to be on the right camp, right? And if you disagree on what the right does, then you have to be on the left camp. And then there are things that both sides do that do affect individual people, right? Real people. And then those real people are forced to deal with that, right? Like, yes, you might actually have your taxes affected by voting for this person, right? And then you do. Like, for instance, like tip earners. Tip earners are happier in this America than they were in the previous America because they get to keep more of their own money, right? Like, that is the reality of the situation. Now, they have had that reality. They are earning, let's say, thousands of dollars more a year, right? That was already their money to begin with, but now it's just not being taken away. And now they have to vote for another political party that could potentially take that away from them, right? Like, imagine if I told you, if you vote for this political party, you're going to have $8,000 less than you would have 4 years from now when you're giving another chance to make a voting decision, right? Like, it's going to be very difficult for people that are purely trying to just, protect their own little nest egg to do anything else. All right. And I feel like, again, the fact that this American world is so tightly controlled on like maintaining your survival, it's expensive to live in America. It is expensive. All right. It's expensive just to feed yourself. So on that level, everybody is incentivized to think about how much money they get to keep, and then only giving them two options, right? The party that is money hungry versus the party that would take some of the money and give it back to, social welfare kind of thing, right? And then also there's like policies about immigration, and then people think about people coming in and then having a cut of that pie that they help to bake, and it just gets so stupid so quickly. And if we had more parties, we could diversify the nuance in the way that we try to apply the same problem. And in South Africa, for example, if we have like a House of Representatives, right? And if there are, like, let's say there's 100 representatives in the House, and we have 10 parties in our like running, right? There's 10 different people that are running for office. And you can learn what their policies are and what things they want to, what issues they want to press. And this group gets 20% of the votes, and this group gets 5% of the votes, and this group gets, 10% of the votes, etc., etc. This group will have 20 people in the House representing their words, right? The people that will be voting for the actual issues, right? And this people will also have 5 people, and this people will also have 10 people. All of those parties, right? Like the whole bipartisan issue. Imagine if it wasn't a bipartisan issue. Imagine if it was multi-partisan, right? Everybody has a stake, right? And there's a bunch of different perspectives on what is and isn't going to be allowed depending on their, like, I mean, it makes it more complex, arguably, right? Now the individual has to be aware of even more information. They have to pay attention to even more nuance and perspective, right? But at least you're given the option, and at the very, very least, you're taking the concentration of power away from just 2 groups of people to being all groups of people, right? Like, I think there's something like, let me find out. I'm going to tell you exactly. And I'm by no means saying that our political party in South Africa is working even, right? I'm not even going to say that it's like right. Like, despite the fact that it's more diverse, I don't think it's that much better, because there's still, the people that are in office still do have the power to manipulate. Right, the president changes, but the party remains the same way as it does with the Republican thing. How many different entities are running for office in South Africa? The candidate list. Bruh. Why are they making me click through Multiple lists. Oh my goodness. No way. Is that real? This is 2024. And this is the national positions that people were applying for. There's national candidate list, there's national, regional, and then there's provincial for office. Let me say presidential office because I think that might change the statistics. Bruh. Well, there's at least 4 that is being suggested. I am talking about like the ANC, the DA, the MK, the EFF. Tell me how many of them there are. Oh my goodness. There is 508 total registered political parties. And then the whole seats things. The ANC in South Africa holds 159 seats. The DA holds 87 seats. The MK holds 58 seats. And the EFF holds 39 seats. And then there are 57 seats that are split among 14 other smaller political parties. So in that way, right, like, and again, I don't think it's working perfectly or at all right now in South Africa. Like there is still a lot of room for improvement because the primary party has been in power for a very long time and things have been getting very bad, you know, pretty much in step with that. And I can see, you know, I had this conversation with Christian just the other day that the average South African is starting to reach a boiling point of no longer wanting to accept the same problems, right, over and over again. And the voting power shifts. It is happening. It's going to take us long. I think that's the thing that I've been taught from South Africans' perspective, is that things take way longer than they should, right? And that patience is going to be one of those things that you just are going to have to get good at, right? Like there's no room for you to be spinning your wheels ceaselessly. You take a break, take a load off. The SNAP benefits being cut. I think you should have to sit there in front of them while they starve and you eat a whole meal. Yeah, I feel like the people that it's being affected by, right? Like that's the, it's so easy being in an office and just hearing SNAP and being like, oh, that costs money, and I'm gonna say no to it costing money. That's actually what I'm doing, right? That's actually what I'm doing. But when you make it the real fact that children, never mind even people, just children, right? There's so many mothers that are feeding their children with SNAP benefits, while massive corporate companies have to have their own employees on SNAP benefits just so that they can make, you know, ends meet, right? While employing them full time. Like it is, I think that's the big thing that we need to start changing. But how long will it take? I'm guessing another 15 to 20-ish years before things are really going to start getting better. And it's devastating to think about it like that. Like by the time I'm in my 40s, maybe the world will be a more equitable place. Maybe. Maybe. It's kind of wild. But I feel like we're showing up for the good stuff, right? Like we're showing up, period, even. I think that's the thing that really makes a difference. Right. I don't think they have the same level of resilience. I think they have too many distractions. I speculate about planters spawning proton and anti-proton pairs rotating at opposite magnetic movements to be sign opposite pressed into symbiotic duality. Ne 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 ne. What? Did I get that right? Then these people would sop up their tears of the bread and use it to make a sandwich. I think that's mostly talk, Sam. I think most of them would crumble in the face of real cruelty. That's my attempt at optimism. I don't think you're wrong, Dan. I think it's a matter of comfort, right? And not even comfort, just like stuck. Those individuals are stuck as well, literally so stuck in their own lives that they can't see outside of it. Mike, is that process similar to Hawking radiation? Becoming a gravitationally, magnetically, and electrically neutral particle pair and being what we call dark matter, and then quantum tunneling events become dark energy when it's actually moving, right? Yeah. Apparently, if you look at the spin of our galaxy, there's a viscosity to the way that the edges are moving. They're moving slower relative to the center, right? If there was nothing in the way, the spin would be faster. But because they're so far away, there's like a viscousness, like a jello that's happening around it. And that jello has mass. And that mass is what we account for, or what we can't account for when we say dark energy or dark matter, right? Like it's happening. It's literally here. It's happening right here. The way that I imagine dark energy is that reality is like a surface layer, bumpy texture on top of the actual dark energy, right? Or maybe protruding into it, even. Maybe that could be a better way to think of it, right? So the more of the matter we make, the more of it protrudes into the dark energy, maybe displacing it, but it is the thing that's actually creating the substrate for the thing to be pushed into. That's the way that I've tried to, like, sitting and thinking about it. That's the way that my brain makes sense of it. But who am I to say? I don't know. Maybe the human mind is capable, but I don't think my human mind is capable. Not this one that I have. Maybe I'll upgrade it at some point. I'll give it novel compounds that will make my neuron density increase, and maybe I can think about more complicated problems in the future. Right now, I think it's okay for me to remain alive. Drink water, eat food, exercise, get enough sleep, hygiene, right? Keep that stuff okay, and I'll find myself on the other side of reality. And look forward to seeing you there as well. You better take care of yourself. Dude, don't forget to hydrate. There it is. Yes, Nancy. Oh, that's what you meant by softening your reality. Just a little bit. Advyata. Most practical people hold to Davyata and idealize Advyata. So, I don't know what that means actually. For like a week and a half, I've had a tab open on my computer on Advyata Vedanta Adhi. How about that? Who's gonna win the World Cup? I think you've asked that question before, S. James. I don't even know who's playing in the World Cup, dude. I don't even know when the last World Cup game is. Hey, Google, when is the finals of the World Cup? I have seemed to encounter an error. That's how you know. That's how you know. When the AI encounters an error, when I ask it a very obvious question, that's me being like, the universe is telling me that I don't care. I'm so sorry. It's okay if you care, right? I believe there's enough care in our world, an abundance of care about the World Cup, that it's okay for me to not care because of how much everyone else is caring, right? That's the way that I've been thinking about it. I can care about other things. I had my tab open on gardening stuff. Although it's interesting, Mike, it sounds like a shot in the dark, no pun intended. As how would we even run an experiment to test it if we can't interact with the particles? Again, the whole protruding thing, right? That if we put out a sensor and displacing the dark matter. Like it can't actually interface with it, but it is making an indentation. Like you are putting a U-shaped indentation in dark matter right now, kind of thing, right? And you're powerful for being able to do so, being able to move mass, all right, move the dark matter out of the way, or something. Maybe it's inside us as well. That could be even weirder. I have contained my rage for as long as possible. Now I shall unleash my fury like the crashing of 1,000 waves. Begone, Newton. Begone from the vile mercury. Okay, guys. What are we humans craving for ultimately? Every all the time. Entropy increasing, disorder going on. What are we humans craving for ultimately? Every and all the time. Love, I'd like to believe, right? And we had someone earlier saying that the only thing that leads you to meaning, right? And again, you can have those interchangeably, right? That if you really love the thing you're experiencing, I believe you gain a lot of meaning from that, right? And conversely, if something has a lot of meaning to you, there's probably uh, a lot of love in your heart for it, right? You wouldn't want to lose that thing of extreme meaning. So yeah, I think that's what we crave for, right? Maybe connection as well. Connection is also a type of meaning, right? Makes you feel like there's more to your experience than just your own. Means something too. To remember who we are. It's a good one, Daryl. I think that trait lends more credence to the theory in many ways, Daryl. More fascinating is the idea that they are a pair and are engaged in superposition. That is very interesting to think about. Right. In that way, there is a, like with that theory, there's a dark matter version of you out there, or in the upside down. There's dark matter melt. Sounds hardcore. And they might not be doing anything else. They might be doing the exact thing that we're doing, just in a whole parallel dimension kind of thing. Your melt, the two-party system, is the manifestation of the wealthiest people divide and conquer strategy. Yeah, 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 yeah. And find out who will be Pee Wee Herman's chef's kiss. We both craves, we both crave security, knowledge, and cannot ever have both. Daryl, maybe to find out the ones who never change and remain all time and everything and even beyond time. Kindness is strength. Kindness is strength or weakness. Depends. I think it depends. Right. If you're choosing to be kind to a person who is stepping on you, right, it might be weakness. But I think you can still get out from underneath a boat without having to be rude, right? You can just be kind to yourself instead. There's a certain strength in that as well. We're all born into a world owned by others, and nobody owes us anything except our parents. It's kind of wild, huh? You owe yourself. You owe yourself love, dude. Like literally, not even go and find love out in the world. Love yourself. Love yourself. If you love a thing at all, love yourself. Please. Right. That is the thing that you do get to give. Right. It doesn't have to be the like a illusionary, oh, I'm the best ever. I'm so the best. Just, allow yourself to like even place your own arms around your arm, like your hands around your arms. Right. Hold yourself. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Hold it at the top for just a moment. And then sigh in relief. Know that you are enough. In a world that will always try to convince you that there is something that you can do, somewhere better that you can be, something that you can buy. Allow yourself to know that right here, right now, exactly what you are is more than enough. And if you can find yourself back in this space, take a few mindful breaths, you'll be served by it, right? Allow yourself that kindness. That the evolutionary and biological mind brain seeks not the real. That's an interesting take as well. Both God is Cotton Eye Joe, who want to know where he come from, where did he go. God is Cotton Eye Joe, where did he come from, where did he go? Where did he come from, Cotton Eye Joe? Expensive is relative. What country are you originally from? I'm from South Africa. Pretty sure you left there because of the cost of living. No. Cost of living in South Africa is really cheap. Really, really cheap. I can buy myself a pound of what you would call jerky here in America for 200 rand. For 12 bucks ish. I can buy myself a pound of beef jerky. Right? Pound of beef jerky would contain about 30-ish% protein. All right. So you're getting more than your daily need of protein, all of your daily need of protein, right? From beef jerky exclusively for 12, 12-ish bucks, a day, which means that it's very easy to cost effectively uh, get your proteins, right? And like to someone who tries to maintain muscle mass and health, that is an expensive thing to try and do here in America. Helicopter parenting is out, Daryl. At some point, God figured out that he had to take his hands off the wheel and let us make our own mistakes. Infinite regression. Don't allow me to believe in a creator God. Yeah, the entropy in the universe, the basic entropy in the universe, right? Maybe it brings with it like the time as we experience it, right? Like we do have atomic clocks, and atomic clocks are only possible because they are by their nature, systems of entropy. They're, radiating themselves off. So it's weird. It's weird, this reality that we're in. I like this new take that our reality is like a pair of goggles, right? Like a pair of VR goggles that we put on top of consciousness, right? This is like a pair of VR goggles we put on top of consciousness. And then we experience our reality the way we do. We experience the novel physics. But again, within the quantum reality, it's all out there. There's an infinity out there. There's multiple different versions of yourself that continues to exist, right? And apparently there is no base reality. There is no one God, one perfect thing. There's consciousness that is all of us arising as itself, right? Finding its way back to itself and then disintegrating again back into multiple versions of itself so it can experience the novelty of what it used to be. And like I don't think there's any start point. I think we've been going on like this forever. It's one of the most poignant questions that I ask myself when I get into a very deep mindful state is how long have we been doing this? How long have we been doing this? How long has it been? This is just a small and random update on my life. The new guy that's backfilling my position starts on Monday. So, in like 2 to 3 months, I'm out from being remote work again for the first time in 4 years. Dude, 2 to 3 months is going to pass like that in the scale of the 4 years perspective. Bless you. Dan, thank you for sharing that good news about what's happening in your life. I'm so happy for you, dude. It's going to be good stuff getting to work from home. Yep, Sam, or else we wouldn't have free will, I guess. Yeah. That's great, Dan. Hell yeah, Dan. The community celebrating with you. A God who is truly all loving wouldn't force you to love him so that you'd have the choice to deny him. Not only that, Daryl, but like in the Bible itself, it tells you that a third of the entire angelic force left with Satan, right? That's a lot. That's a lot. Like, I can imagine, like maybe God has bad blood with like one angel, and this one angel has like two homies. That's like, yeah, we'll stand with you. Yeah. But a third, I don't know how many angels there are, right? I don't know if there are billions of them the way there are billions of humans. But a third, how many aliens? How many angels left? Right? Millions of them? Billions, trillions of angels? We're like, no, we can't handle this God anymore. It's like, that's very suspicious. So very suspicious. But I believe there's one non-dual, ultimate, fundamental, exact one beyond consciousness stuff. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I do believe in the as above, so below. But I think it is still you at just a higher level. And then there's another you at a higher level. And then there's another you at a higher level. But it's circular, right? That's the whole with the Buddhism, is like we have to get out of the wheel. I don't think that's an option. I don't know. That's where I didn't get into Buddhism, because I'm like, nope, I actually don't have anywhere to be, right? If that's the case, if this is infinity that I'm in the middle of, and so be it. I am comfortable. I am comfortable in the middle of infinity, actually. This is great. There is infinity of softness on both sides of me, and I get to be all snug as a bug in the middle. Right? Clearly, makes perfect sense for it to be true love. A government that's all loving wouldn't suffer the children. Yeah, you get what you vote for. There it is. I don't know if I'm allowed to vote at all. At the very least, not in the short term. What's gone is gone. Let it teach you, not trap you. The past is a lesson, not a prison. Oh, that's some beautiful words, hoopty hoops. That's what I've been saying this whole time, Daryl. Our faith wouldn't mean anything if it was compulsory. The opportunity to doubt and not believe is what makes opting in so powerful. Is my guy from South Africa? Ja, ek is van South Africa af. Daryl, I've been under the radar for 2 hours. Nice. That's not true, bro. I voted for Kamala and I got wrong. That's humanity going towards where's humanity going towards even? We're going towards the singularity, right? A convergence of intelligence and technology that's going to make the future completely impossible to predict. And it's going to enable the individual so much more room to create than we would ever have been able to imagine before. That's where I think we're heading. That's where I'm going, at the very least. I'm curious where you were going, Abby. There we go. Yeah. Dreamtooth. Hoopty Hoops is asking the right question. It's not about where humanity is going, it's where are you going? Right? You'll find humanity there. We're more prosperous now than we have ever before been in history, yet we suffer and we destroy. It's all where? It's all is there. Yeah, I'd love to talk your ear off about it, Daryl. I'm going to church and back home to find food for the day. Bless ya. Have a good time. Must me looking if it's Sunday. The universe created life and intelligence in and of itself. Science can't disprove the creator. I don't think it needs to. I'm not looking to have anything proven to me, right? Other than what is good for me. If you can definitively prove to me that believing in a God is going to make me more energized, make me feel more hopeful for the future, right? Definitively, all right? I probably still wouldn't be able to believe something just because you said so. However, if there's an action path, if you go, yeah, singing with a community raises dopamine levels, lasts for so many days, praying, consistently, activates neuronal pathways, downregulates default mode network, allows you to be more open to reality. Like if you can definitively create, right, literature as to why the religious practice begets a better life outcome than a non-religious practice, I would, right? But I have gotten myself way more involved in the actual process than I have in the belief. Because the process is the thing that actually affects your physical being, right? And your body informs your mind, right? That's kind of the way that I've seen reality is. Like it is very grounded while at the same time being spiritual, right? Like the spiritual part of you is, right? That part is unchangeable, I'd like to say. But this part of you is changeable, right? So you should change the part that's changeable and leave the part of you that's unchanged alone. Right? It's not for you to know. As the Tao said, Mike, right? If you're supposed to know, you're gonna know. If you're not supposed to know, you're not supposed to know. You can know that if you put your hand on something hot, it burns. Right? You can know that. And you can know it quickly. And you'll know it so quickly that you'll rip your hand away from the warm thing. Right? That's how quickly we could react if we get the information that we're supposed to know. And I have comfort in knowing that I will, at some point, know all that I need to. In South Africa, policy is being shaped more by judges than politicians, which stabilizes the system but slows down transformation. Indeed, very wise of you, Mike. The creator itself is the creation. There we go. The responsibility of being the ordainers of destiny. What separates us from the animals, is that we can shape our own evolution through ways more than sexual selection. Daryl, that's literally what I show up for in this space. I call these streams, instead of live streams, I call them conscious evolutions. That is the thing that separates us from animals. I completely agree. We are choosing to shape our own evolution through more than sexual selection. The biggest risk isn't collapse as much as fragmentation. Human instinct is fact. Ants are born knowing how to build. In my opinion, the real instability isn't in Pretoria, it's the municipalities where the services break down. Do you live in South Africa, Mike? It's pretty cool, dude. Like, you know more than most about that kind of fractal. It is the services, because again, they don't have the budget to actually fix all this stuff, and they don't have the skill, even if they did have the budget, to pay people, and they don't want to subcontract, and then when they do subcontract, there's corruption, and then yeah, big problems. All parties are power structures of hierarchies, and absolute power corrupts. Absolutely. Humanity forgets to ask questions and being curious enough to question and seek the truth. It's true, Abi. Imagine we had access to the whole Vatican archive and the Smithsonian's, etc. Society running endlessly blindfolded without introspection. Buddha said, "You are enough, and this is enough. Everything is right and everything is wrong. The Eightfold Path and the Yoga Sutras are the way to walk like Jesus wanted us to. An embrace of multiple houses of faith is necessary to grasp Jesus." Yeah, it's not clear cut, right? Jesus wasn't a Christian. So even just in that, as Sam said, it's true. You have to be able to grasp multiple faiths to grasp Jesus. Those archives would nevertheless be nothing unexpected from me. Just humans, their desire, ego, selfishness, and what else may. Yeah, also true, right? But again, it's a matter of knowing thyself. Think the fact that we're not allowed access, like all of that stuff needs to be digitized and then made available. Apparently, quantum tunneling events are why the Avengers can't pay me a fair wage. That moment when quantum tunneling doesn't get your wage paid sounds like some future problem. That mass he's talking about was found through bullet clusters colliding with each other and there was a ruminant field in the center of the collision that wasn't explained by the mass of the collision itself. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's true what Daryl says. Human perception and intelligence are limited. Yeah, also true. Observe the observer. Melt, I also think now is okay. Think you're right. I'm starting to learn from you, hoopty hoops. How often do good people roll their dice? Melt, I need you to play Harry in my new show, Harry Poppers. It's Harry Poppers, but he's high on poppers all the time. Yes, it's Harry Potter. Just like poppers are so weird of a thing as well. I've seen people do them. It's like little bottles that they just put up to their noses and then smell the bottles. I don't get it. I don't get it. But it would be funny. You know, like it's the exact same Harry Potter's movie. Nothing else changes. But, you know, every time the scene cuts away from him, he's like going under his desk, smelling poppers or something. No, please. No, please. Humans crave dopamine on tap, like in Brave New World. Oh, jeebies. What is love? It is attraction, dopamine, oxytocin. No, it is a continuing force, right? There doesn't have to be attraction, dopamine, or oxytocin in my current experience for me to enjoy a glass of water. Maybe I do get some dopamine, but I don't think I'm attracted to the glass of water, at least not in that way, right? And I'm definitely not bonding with it in my oxytocin way. We're just mud questioning itself. We're a bug. I don't think so. I don't think so, dude. I don't think so at all. One point of view is that love is the wish for others to have happiness and its causes. Love is biological. Evolutionary, doesn't it? I mean, love is something that facilitates evolution as well. Unconditional love is providing the condition for another to bloom without claiming ownership over the blossom. Superposition sounds like any position I'm in. If there'd be duality ever, we're gonna suffer. I and you blunders. Hey, Lone Buffalo's here too. He left there because of all the murder. What is happening? I left South Africa because of all the murder. Nah, dude. Not at all, actually. The murder wasn't the thing that got me to leave. Our murder statistics are pretty rough. It's true. But it's 44 in 100,000. All right. I'm not trying to make the 44 people that dies in that 100,000 less than, right? Or, you know, sweep it under the rug. But your odds are still pretty low. Your odds are still pretty low. I have a lot of people that I care a lot about living in South Africa, so I don't want to make that the be all end all. You've said that, Abi, that I look like David Miller, the cricket player. Your iPad is also a DJ mixer at the Transcendence festivals. That's a cool line. Manifest here with me. Can we get a quick shout out for Christiana Applegate? We see you, Christiana. We love you, girl. I don't know who that is, and I sure do hope you're not trolling, Dan. What's the north of North Pole? Christiana Applegate is in the stream. Christiana is with Dan at the moment. I wish, Nancy. Shout out Christiana Applegate. I sure as hell wouldn't be on stream if Christiana Applegate was at my house. What is happening? The ultimate parent, the primary efficient cause, maybe. We appreciate your contribution to Hollywood. Respect. To be honest, I'm not sure who Christiana Applegate is. Is she from Married with Children? Married with Children. There we go. Bundy girl. Keep your feet on the ground. Don't eat the deep state fire. Seems like chat has gone off the rails. In Genesis, the serpent told Eve the lie of separation, a fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, which she wasn't supposed to touch. Then she told Adam. I mean, again, if anybody is responsible, it's God for putting the tree where they can reach it. Right? Like, let's be honest. If you're the all-knowing God, you knew. You knew what you were doing. Right? Even if I'm not an all-knowing God, if I put a bowl of candy in the middle of a table and I tell the two kids that are running around in my space, hey, you better not eat these candies, right? You can eat anything else, but not these candies. What do you think they're gonna do if given enough time? Right? You don't have to be a rocket scientist. It's pretty simple, right? And again, if he was the creator of us, then he should have known our natures in that way too. Men will eat anything a naked woman offers them. Checks out. Allow it to and able to are two different things. And this humanity was served from itself and the source of our divinity. True Mel, Satan was right about everything. Satan 2028. Jeez. Descend into monkey. I feel like Chad's descending into monkey right now. I need to think the original sin wasn't Eve eating the apple. It was Adam cast all the blame onto her and never took any responsibility onto himself. That's a hot take. I like that actually. It's like if he was just willing to be like, yeah, I also ate the apple because I was curious. Because I wanted to. Not because, oh, she told me to, it was her. It's her fault. I currently dwell in space. Because then he technically did have knowledge of good and evil, right? Which means that he could have known that him blaming her was evil or wrong at the very least, right? Yeah, more. I remember the yellow sun. Good luck, everybody. Good luck. Brave New World is one of my favorites. Huxley was way ahead of his time in his thinking. Let's energize Melt. Definitively. Action path. I don't know what that means, but I'm feeling energized. Huxley was an optimist. Huxley was an optometrist. I am Hindu, and I feel like you can. And there is more expanded knowledge about what you're talking about. Read the Bhagavad Gita. That'll open your eyes. We have been. Slowly and in pieces, but we have been reading the Bhagavad Gita. Daryl, it's a spell breaker. Most folks are currently spellbound and don't remember. Dan V, how about that? Why should I pray to Moloch Ball? Motherfucker won't hand over his mace. So what's the point? Fuck that guy. Freaking Moloch Ball. You didn't pray hard enough. Do not blame God for your own shortcomings. Dan, first banned book I read. I didn't pray hard enough. I didn't flog myself with the right implement. Ritual. You friends are just like descending down the Aldous Huxley fractals. Brave New Worlding it. No, Dan, I haven't. Thanks for the idea. What are you thinking about? Mel being 30 minutes behind chat. It's been a thick one. Lone Buffalo, I'm trying. I'm not that far behind anymore. I'm catching up. Both Christiana deserves more respect than I thought of. Spam chat. She's a whole woman. I'll read when I understand what's happening again. He absolutely did know, which is why the notion of assigning blame has become so amusing to me now. It was planned and everyone did what God wanted them to do. When I take the ladder out of the pool or place the rug next to the fireplace, I know what I'm doing. Are you not supposed to place rugs near fireplaces? Not rugs, bare fireplace screens? Wolf be making love? If your last name is... All right. I think that's it for me. That's it. Ta-dum-tum. Pum 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 pa-dum pa-dum. Pa-dum pum pa-dum. Pa-da-da-dum pa-dum pum 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 pa-dum. Da-da-da-da-da-dum. Somebody tell me to stop. I don't know DDP versus Osman. You asking about Brave New World? Copyright strike for playing Mario theme. Probably like there was like 2 notes in there that sounded very similar to what we were doing. All right, Nintendo comes for my whole catalog of video. Takes my house. Takes my dog. Takes my bird. He's like, yeah, you fucked up, bro. You sing. Stop. Thank you. Whoa! Is that Stephen G. Fuel? Wile Coyote. That looks like Stephen G. Fuel's profile picture to me. It's been a while, dude. I hope you've been. Hello, there it is. I hope you've been well. I hope you've been taking good care of yourself. You've been missed. And it's nice having you back. Should I call you Wile Coyote from now on? Stephen G is no longer it. Maybe. Maybe I should. Wile Coyote, Healing Waters. We pulled the Healing Waters card. Dricus du Plessis versus Kamaru Usman are fighting at the middleweight in the UFC. I do know Dricus du Plessis, actually. But I don't know what DDP means, dude. I thought you were using some sort of acronym. No, that's Tom. He's my best friend. Unless he uses the very same profile pic as our Stephen G. Fuel friend. I don't know if I believe you. But maybe he did. That's not impossible. I once survived only a G Fuel, on only G Fuel for 2 weeks. It was while I wasn't. No, he's my best friend too. Hey, Lone and Stephen G. So much love. All right. Joe knows what I'm I'm lost. I'm like lost in the forest right now. Like all I can see is trees. All I can see is trees. Like I don't know what's going on. Healing Waters, heal me. What card you got there, bud? Daryl. These are the Sacred Geometry cards for the Visionary Path. They don't tell the future. Melt is too young for MySpace. Too young for MySpace, and I wasn't really allowed that much computer time. Oh, nice. Yeah. You know Sacred Geometry? I mean, we've been talking about cool stuff in this space, Daryl, and I feel Sacred Geometry is like right up your alley. I don't know if this is the coolest card to go on. This one is kind of cool, but it's just a bunch of spheres. I've been good. I always think about y'all's energy every now and then. Sorry I've been gone for so long. Life has changed a ton for me. You do not have to apologize. Dear friend, I just want you to know that you have been on our hearts as well, and that it's nice having you back. Even if you do have to get busy with life again, the reason I keep doing these streams every day is so that you can be met back here, right? Like you know, there's like a predestined future point in the future, right? And you can go infinitely far. You can go ideally 1,000 years. 1,000 years would be like your max range because I want to live at least 1,000 years, right? You can think like 1,000 years into the future and you could be having the worst day ever. And then you can come into this space and then I'll be stoked to see you. All right, boom. Boom. Sounds like a deal to me, don't you think? You are loved, dear friend. Thank you for joining us. I hope that your life continues to change for the better. That you just sent me $20. I was like, here, $20. $20 is enough money to... What will $20 buy you in America? I'm trying to think what we spent $20 on. We gave $20 to our little cousins. There you go. $20 is enough to make a money tree. Yeah. Me and Joe went outside and picked up sticks and then took $20 in $1 notes and then tied little pieces of string around them after we felled them in half and then fold them in half again and then tie them together here and then hang those little dollar notes. So you just sponsored a whole money tree. Thank you, bro. That's nice of you. All right, you told me to stop. So this is for you, Stephen G. Maybe this could be something that can be good, right? You mentioned that you've been going through a lot. You've been good. I'm happy to hear that. But maybe you can deserve some flow, some cleansing, some healing. The flow of this legendary waterfall cascades over 7 pools. Recognized as a place of restorative energies, these 7 pools were used to cleanse and heal wounded warriors in old Hawaii. The multi-circular geometry of the flower of life is subtly embedded in the rocks surrounding the falls. Out of this configuration, 7 spheres are revealed. Merging the flow of cleansing water with these 7 rainbow chakra spheres provides an opportunity to balance the etheric body as well as that of the 3-dimensional world. This card counsels you to acknowledge the innate ability that you already have to heal yourself, and to realize that as you progress towards personal well-being, you will be able to cleanse all manner of unwanted energies from your heart and your mind. As you stand beneath your shower, visualize the flow as cleansing and rejuvenating your body, mind, and spirit. As you observe the flow of water in a river, in the ocean, or a waterfall, envision healing energies. In doing so, you not only support your own healing, but you also facilitate healing the heart and mind of our collective consciousness. Each movement towards personal wholeness acts upon the whole of reality. Each decision to choose wellness over injury heals also the body of our planet. Yeah, that feels good. Thank you for adding healing energies to this space, dear friend. Joe, are you robbing the cradle? Too young for my space. That's fine then, guys. I'll just enjoy my applesauce here from my home. I don't know much, but I'm familiar. I like listening to Randall Carlson. Yeah, good old Carlson. No kidding, Dan. Geez, let me know if you find my denture. Friends. Bless you, Stephen G. Thank you again for the $20. That's 3 ounces of beef jerky. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, in South Africa, that's almost 2 pounds. I could buy myself 2 pounds of biltong in South Africa with that. I'll get you some biltong. When you come to South Africa one day, I'll meet you there. Buy Joe flowers. That's cute, Prairie. Flowers die. Find her a shiny rock. No, Prairie, he brought me markers so I can draw flowers. It's true. I did buy her markers for her birthday. It's her birthday the 20th, so 3 days coming up. It really was. Like, she's been loving her gift, so I've been happy that she's like, I mean, I gave her her gift, like pre-birthday gift, but still counts. Yes, buy Joe a gold bar. Girls like gold bars. Yes, I'm sure they would. I'll dress like a girl and put on high heels if girls start getting gold bars as gifts. I'll speak in a high voice even. The highest voice. I'll be so girly. Why does my girl voice sound like freaking Mickey Mouse? $20 can buy you breakfast for one. It's true. Shit, I can make $20 last a few days. Some glizzies, beans, and orange. Yeah, actually, some glizzies and like Wonder Bread, you can eat like for a few days with $20. It's true. Breakfast for one. Ain't that the truth, Nancy? Annual flowers that bear fruit like roses for rosehip tea. That sounds nice. By the way, I hope everyone is doing all right with the fires and smoke. New York City literally smells like a barbecue right now, and the sky is orange. GBs. I hope that you have an air purifier, or at least are staying inside, dear Dan. Mel, I'm remembering how your dad didn't want you using the cards when you were living in South Africa. Did your oppositional thing ever make you want to just go ahead and do it anyway? It did. It did, right? But I felt like I was reaching, I was like reaching a part of him, right? Is that I was doing it like it was my choice, right? Not like I was doing it because he told me to. And that's how I got over the oppositional defiance part of it, because I was like, you know what? You know what? I'll choose to respect this request. It's so silly. I'm like who would have anything to bad to say about, like, yeah, when you look at the water out in the world, think healing energies, right? Every decision you make to take care of yourself heals also the body of our planet. Like, I don't know why you would think, yeah, that's evil. That shouldn't be. But, and I shared my fractal of, like, can you believe this, many times during time. I enjoy coming back to my cards after a break from them, right? So in that way, it feels good. Melt practices voodoo. I probably would if I could. I recently found out that voodoo is not what I thought it was. Apparently, voodoo is a little doll, right? That if you were one of my students, if you were one of my patients, I would construct a little doll that looked like you. And then I would ask you what's going on. And you're like, oh, my foot is hurting, right? Like I can't step on it this way or whatever. And then in my infinite wisdom, I suggest the exact exercise for your foot, right? That I think could help. And you then leave my office. I would take your little voodoo doll and I would put a needle in your foot. And then the next time you come back to come and see me, and you're like, hey, Dr. Melt, I have this thing that's going on. I can go, oh, let's get your little voodoo doll. And I can be like, oh, last time you were here, you were complaining about your foot. Is it feeling better now? And they can be like, yeah, it is feeling better. And I can take the needle out because you don't have that problem anymore. And then if you're like, oh, no, it's not feeling better, I can know that my perfect exercise for helping was ineffective. And I can keep it there and I can suggest something else. Right? And after like hearing that, because they weren't allowed to write, right? They were either illiterate or they weren't allowed to write. So they had to have like some way to document. And like finding that out completely changed my mind on how I feel about voodoo. So yeah. You wish, oh. I'm not proud to say I'd probably do it for 500K after taxes though. It depends on whom I'm selling it to. Jeez. I don't know, bro. You'd have to be very financially irresponsible to not take an offer like that. Probably because Dad never considered them. He had no interest. His opinion was already solidified. It's true. Yeah, he just saw it as it's cards, right? And in his world, there's no cards in Christianity, right? So it must not be Christian. And that's bad. So it shouldn't be read, right? So yeah, as you said, solidified. Sam, the shiny rock is a good tip. There's a guy named Craig at the end of the block who always is trying to sell me these shiny rocks for like $10. I keep telling him I'm single, so there's no lady to gift it to. Yeah, those rocks that he's selling, some lady would probably be very happy to receive them. That lady also doesn't have any teeth, and she'll probably chase you for it, but you should probably steer clear. Steer clear, Dad. If it was Jason Momoa, that's one thing. But some crusty old, why? Why are we? Is there an option? I'd pick the smallest dude I could. I had no idea. That's how voodoo started. Interesting, right? Like understanding that completely demystifies, because I thought it was like cursing, right? Like the needle gets put in you to like stab your heart or something. But that's not what it was about at all. Like it never was that. And like finding that out was like, huh, neat. 130K pays off my house in debt, but at least I want a new car out of it too. You want a new car? Gets yourself a $270,000 car. Buys yourself one of those really, they're even more expensive. They're 600,000. I was gonna say those really bad electric Porsches, or is it Ferrari? A bad electric Ferrari that looks like a Nissan Leaf. I had no idea. Yeah. That one thing about autistic women is that I think I'm not gonna finish that sentence. Does Craig call himself an entrepreneur, but also wears the visors upside down? Daryl wouldn't be universal balance if it had a tiny one. Life is unfair. He's probably. All right. I think I'm like I won. I successfully reached the bottom of the chat. Good afternoon and good morning and good evening. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Thank you for joining me. What's up? I got my MMA match tomorrow. You came back from training. We're winning this time. Good luck, dear friend. Good luck. I hope that it goes well. I would recommend that you have fun as much as you can. Good luck tomorrow. You know, there's definitely a part of me that's like wanting to like my precious your head and be like, no, don't put your head in the range of someone punching your face. But I trust that you're strong, and I trust that you're gonna punch his face so much more than your face is gonna get punched, and you'll be okay. Don't punch him too hard, of course. You know. I don't know if I'm helping. I think I'm being the worst ever pep talker ever, right? Like I'm just like sitting in your corner. I'm like, hey, that was great out there, but have you considered punching that guy softer? He looks like he's getting hurt. You know, you're also looking like pretty rough. Maybe you should sit it out. Maybe you should like throw in the towel. I'm a southpaw. I'm more of a striker. I rarely grapple. I'm happy that you're like giggling at least with me going down these rabbit holes. Kick some ass, Jeff. Get him. If it isn't hurting you, then it isn't bothering me. And I think it's wrong to dislike other people for their religious beliefs. Yeah, because I myself understand that I'm never gonna know everything. That's the most important wisdom to come to Tamil. Holding that wisdom opens up the whole world to you. Good luck to all of you friends. Thank you for joining me here. I was also taught that the fastest way to lose friends is to talk about religion, sex, or politics, because no two people think alike 100% on all of those topics. Yeah. I'm like a cookie jar, slowly coming out of hermit mode to the living. It makes a plausible sense. You're loved, Pedro. Thank you for joining us. Till next time, thank you again, Stephen G, for the $20 donation. That is so generous. It's so generous. He's like, oh yeah, you think that's generous? He's like, how about 50 Dara? Wow. Now you have like, yeah, damn. Yeah. Stephen G. Bam. Bam, bam, bam. Bam, bam, bam. Bam, bam, bam. Bam, 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 bam. Bam, bam, bam. Thank you. Bless. $70? Oh my goodness. That is a lot of money. Thank you. W's in chat. Everybody hype up Stephen G. Yeah. As you give, so you shall receive. Making it rain. I imagine it coming. Goofy? Good. You paid for this, bro. You paid for it. What's up? Did you leave America or something? Nope. I'm like, right in there. In America. Smack dab in the middle of it. USS Liberty, Iran, Kandahar. Yes. I don't know if you know this, Stephen G, but I live in America now. I think the last time I saw you was when I was at Christian's place, right? Might have been. And I'm here on stateside. Do you live in America? I think you do, Stephen G. I am ending the stream. Maybe you'll come and tell me next time. Where are you from? I'm from South Africa. We do not believe that animals do not consciously choose mates based on physical appearance, and the ones with the best genetics chosen which is not consciously deciding evolution. Yep, that's the last time I was here. I'm in New Mexico. Okay. That's not infinitely far away. I am going to meet all of you friends eventually. And I appreciate you with these donations for making it more and more possible. You weren't born here. Nope. Ain't born here, bro. Born in the south of Africa. Are you Jewish? Nope. Ain't Jewish. Nope. Grew up Christian. The animals are always going to choose the mate with attributes, physical or otherwise, that lead to the most successful offspring, which is definitely conscious decisions. Yeah, but not necessarily conscious evolution, right? They're not evolving with their consciousness. They're still evolving with their bodies. That's the difference. That be them difference, all right? That be them a difference. There's a difference. But we can discuss that in length next time. Thank you, friends, for joining me today. Thank you again, Stephen G, for your generosity. What a pleasure. I'll see you, friends, again soon. Okay? Tomorrow. Daryl, I have questions for you. There's a character limitation. Reach out. Join the Discord, Daryl. We have a Discord too. So you can connect more with the other friends if you want to. Bless. Thank you for joining us. Ooh, Noodle getting some lovin'. Yeah, he needed some. He was like, please give me some scritchins. I need to take him out. That's what he's actually asking for. Thank you, friends, for joining me. I'm going to go do that. Bye. Sending you blessings and love. Peace.